Okay, welcome everybody. Oh, we got some people
Hello.
on the chat. How's everyone doing? Uh, where in the world have the Paint Bros been over the past couple months? That is the real question, and the answer that and the question that we're hoping to answer on this episode. It's been a little while since our last stream, and that's completely on us. We let so many little things get in the way here, but we're back.
Like
Um,
like life and
like
death.
life, like life and work.
We're
And
terrible.
yeah, we're horrible. Just to do a quick sound check since we have everyone on here. How's the volume be for Dan
Does
and
everybody hear
I?
everybody? Yeah, here
Yeah,
this is Dan. Can everybody hear me?
that's Dan. He's one paint bro, and this is Tony, the other paint bro. How's everyone doing? Ron Shepard says hi. Zadwit says stayed up too late last night. I need this to stay awake at work. Thanks. That's what we're here
Me both.
for. Matea says the paint bros are back. And Bivens is hearing Toto in his head for some reason. He says
Nice. I
so.
like that. How's it going, John? Good
Yeah.
to see you.
Yeah. Let me.
I am waking up. What time do you usually get up now?
Uh, it's been a little sporadic. I'm getting up a little later. I'm getting up around like 6:30. But I used to be. It's still 4:30, 5 o'clock. Still isn't out of the question.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, 6:30, 7 o'clock has been. I I I have the luxury of just waking up when I wake up. So
That must be nice.
yeah,
See, I
that.
have that whole of little kid that has to go to school,
Uh
so
huh. Yeah. Right.
uh, I'm up at 6 every day like clockwork,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's weird. I don't even have to set an alarm anymore. I will automatically wake up at that time. I've been totally conditioned. So, and lately I've been waking up like an hour ahead for
Hmm.
some weird reason. I don't know how that happened. I blame it on Africa, but I don't know if that's necessarily the thing that did it. But whatever,
it it's been
it's
it's been
messing with my, yeah,
it's been four
messing
months,
with my
Dan.
sleep cycle.
It's been 4 months.
Yeah, well, it legitimately took me 2 days to like get back to like a normal sleep schedule and time zone. Um,
Really? Oh,
I don't know about you.
it
Yeah,
destroyed me.
I did not.
It took me forever.
Yeah, it took me a good 2 days to like recover.
It
Um,
took me a good like week and a half.
yeah.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, I guess, got really busy towards the end or middle of last year, and
Yeah.
between Tony and I being, you know, crazy traveler that Tony is, Tony started traveling all over the world, literally, for
Yeah.
conventions. Um, I did moderately, not nearly as bad as Tony, and bad being a good thing. I also got completely bombarded by project work. Um,
Yeah.
Project work that, of course, I wasn't doing anymore, but I took on a bunch of things that were kind of bucket list items that I really wanted to work on, and uh, yeah, I just kind of vanished off the face of the social media altogether. Um, I'm slowly getting back into like posting and recording and doing everything else. I've been recording episodes of reels and things like that that I can then kind of start disseminating on a regular basis,
Yeah.
um,
But
so
it's
that I
just
can
sitting there.
rebuild my
Is it
social
is it
footprint.
yeah. Is it just sitting there until you're allowed to share?
No, a lot of the things that I've been waking up earlier and earlier so that I can actually do something that I can share.
Uh
I unfortunately just got one other thing today that I, of course, can't share. I was like, "Hey, can I share this? It would be really cool if I could share, anything."
I
And and literally, there was like an emphatic, "Yeah, no."
yeah.
I was like, "Please
I,
help me help you."
if it's what I think it is, it's the same thing, right? That I got to.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was like, well, I want to share it. It looks really cool, and
I know. I'm really happy with it, and it's
yeah,
like, come on. And yeah, there was like, yeah, let's not do that. And I'm like, ah, of course, yeah, can't win. But
no,
yeah, so I'm trying to get back to regular posting, trying to get back to uh, like doing at least one thing a day. That used to be my mantra, is that I would do one thing a day for me,
yeah,
not for a publisher or anybody else. And I even got to the point that I kind of swore off doing publisher work for, I think I did it for about 3 years. I didn't do
yeah.
publisher work. Um, and now I'm almost entirely back in, I'm in the opposite. Um,
You're back into
yeah,
publishing,
I'm completely back to doing publishing stuff. Yeah.
and he's back.
Well, it's like working on properties that are literally like, yeah, why would you not? I mean,
Yeah,
it's, I guess I know what everybody has a price, so to speak. It's like
yeah.
I know what mine is now. It's like, and it's not, literally isn't about the money.
It's about what young 7-year-old Dan would have been so excited to know that he would be
Yeah.
working on, right? It's those kind of
Oh,
projects.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like little, if I, told teenage Dan what
yeah,
he was going to be doing at this age, teenage Dan would be like, "Are you kidding me right now?
yeah,
Okay, all right, so
yeah,
it's all worth it."
yeah, yeah.
So, all right, that's cool.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I also took a little bit of a hiatus during the holidays. Like once the conventions ended for a little while, I was just like,
Yeah,
man, man, I had to focus on just trying to get a few pieces of art done, and even that was slightly laborious too, just from the frenetic pace of just conventions and getting work done at shows and being on the road and trying to be somewhat
yeah.
productive. So there was a little lull on mine too, and we talked about it, right? Like it was
Oh
like
yeah.
end of November, December. We're like, hey, we should do a paint bros. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's totally do it. Let's set a date. Like, okay, let's talk. And the
Never
day would,
material.
yeah, and like a day
Yeah.
before, I'm sure it was on your end too. You had that brief thought. We're like, I should call Tony and we should chat with him and see what we want to do so we can stream something. And then you had like 100 other things to do, and it's probably same
Oh
thing with
yeah.
me. I was just like, oh, I
The
should call Dan.
holidays are horrible. Yeah. Like I love the holidays. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love them, but they are so horrible when it comes to me and productivity.
Yeah,
Mostly because I have everything that everyone wants everything finished by the end of the year.
right.
Like they want in the calendar year. So
And you got to get the
all the
Christmas
public
commissions and everything else that are out there.
exactly. So well, that's the thing. I didn't even take on. I took
I
on
didn't either.
4, and all from people that I know and like I felt kind of obligated to. Uh, like those are the only ones that I could take on. And even them, I was like, oh, man, I'm gonna put somebody else off for you just to let you know. And I love you, man. That's the only reason I'm doing this,
Yeah.
because right now, yeah, this is literally the last thing I should be working on. So today, so what are we drawing today? So today, Tony was like, yeah, what else should we do? And we were all racking our brains, and he
Yeah.
goes, I don't know, I have a bunch of rabbits, and I was thinking, Chinese New Year,
Yeah.
rabbit.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? We did the tiger last year. Let's do
Yeah.
this. Yeah, it's on.
Yeah. So Chinese New Year is this Sunday. So for everyone,
Hmm.
恭喜发财 or 新年快乐 or whatever else, get rich is basically what it translates to. Um, uh, it is. I hope you get rich.
I love
That,
this thing.
like there is a
Capitalism.
happy New Year, but at the crux of it, there's a great little bit by what's the guy, the Chinese guy on the Daily Show. I forget his name, but he has a great bit about like, yeah, you want capitalism, Chinese people. Like we don't say Happy New Year, we say we hope you get rich.
Yeah. So funny.
Yeah, you hope money finds you. Like, oh, okay. That's our greeting.
I love it.
And we say that for a
I
week.
love
We
it.
take a week off, right? So if anyone's trying to get overseas printing done in Asia, it's just not
Oh,
happening.
oh, yeah, yeah. Seriously.
We
So
take
it's so funny.
literally we
Whenever you
take a
work
week
with
off. It's
print,
not a day.
yeah, when you work with printers, the first thing they ask you, literally, it's the first thing they ask you if you're doing any printing overseas is, do you need it by whatever date? And if it's a date that happens either right around Christmas or just after Christmas,
Yeah,
um, like they will point blank just say you got to get it in at this point
yeah,
because they don't want anything to possibly roll into Chinese New Year because it
yeah,
takes so long afterwards for them to get back up and running, and things just don't happen immediately. Yeah,
yeah.
I remember working with. Yeah, that was funny.
Dan's camera is pixelated. It is. I don't know.
It's not on for me. What I'm seeing is not pixelated.
Well, of course, because it's showing
That's
directly from. Let me see what's going on here. Um,
and I'm showing full bars on Wi-Fi too. That's weird.
yeah. Let me. I don't know if this does any better. No, it isn't. Uh,
Let me see if I can adjust the camera that's
yeah,
being.
yeah. Yours is. It's skipping. I can see the frame rate dropping.
It's
Um,
probably I switched to like the highest everything. Let me. This is a new phone, new everything.
oh yeah.
So yeah. So give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Uh,
You're a caller for video
videos.
source, audio source. I have you on the highest bandwidth to you, so I've opened up 1080p. That
Oh,
is
it'll
still perfect.
definitely give. This thing will deliver 4K. So
Well, the thing is, you can't deliver. It will record 4K, but it can't push out 4K
yeah.
because the networks don't allow that.
Uh,
They just aren't big enough.
let's see.
So,
Formats 1080p at 30. That's all record settings. Uh, do I have settings in your
you,
video?
you can check that. Yeah, check that advanced
Yeah.
tab and see.
Uh,
Zadwit says, do you all feel the same way about commissions as you do publisher work, or are they equally as exhausting? Commissions, I think, are a little less exhausting. People are more understanding than art directors on some levels.
yeah. Oh, big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
and, and also, I think for,
Actually, I don't know if more I think about it, I think I
yeah,
disagree.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, my, I don't know. I don't have an advanced tab. You do?
Did you log into advanced.vmix or?
No, no, no. That you just sent me a link directly to it, and I have some adjustments, but nothing.
You might have to log out and
Okay, I'll
if
be
you
right back, everybody.
yeah yeah and go to advanced dot put advanced in front of that. I should have sent you another link right afterwards.
No, I'm at advanced.vmixcall.com. Yeah, I
Yeah.
am there.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I have a tab that just has, I mean, it's got really kind of bare bones.
Oh yeah.
I get auto gain, echo cancellation, uh,
Let me.
camera. I mean, but it doesn't really. Don't have a lot of features.
Got it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. I think we're gonna have to make do for the time being. Maybe
Oh, let me
Is
check
it look?
this.
Now I'm looking at what it looks like on.
Um,
Do 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 do. We always have technical difficulties.
so
Just the
what
way it is.
what I can see is that your ping is 500 and or averaging around 500 milliseconds, which is pretty long.
Hmm.
Uh, night, yeah, you're definitely dropping frames and stuff. Let's look at that. Here you are.
We had something like this once before that we
Yeah.
were able to tweak.
Say something funny to the folks, Dan. Keep them entertained.
I'm so funny. Let me say something funny to the folks. Keep them entertained. Dance, monkey, dance. Oh man. Okay, let's see here. What's the okay? So I'll tell you a little story. Yeah, come on, Dad, tell a story. Um, my uh, my son got a splinter in his under his fingernail, and it was
Uh-huh.
like biblical. Like I've never experienced anything quite like this before, um, as a father, or just period.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all had splinters in our fingers. It's not a big deal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This one, I've never seen anything like it. It was like 2 inches long, so it went under his fingernail, like almost to the knuckle,
Uh-huh.
and it embedded itself so that you couldn't even get a grip on it, and you would literally have to take the nail off to get to the thing. Um,
Oh.
yeah, and let me tell you, here's a little story about uh,
Don't let
medicine
them.
today. They will not do it anywhere. No one will do it. We
No one will take
literally
that
called
splinter out?
no one. We went everywhere. We literally took this kid, drug him to so many different places to get the stupid splinter out. It became the bane of our existence over the last like 3 weeks. And we finally like were able to deal with it and get rid of it. But man, I've never thought a splinter would do us in like this. Um, yeah, we went to his doctor, paid some ridiculous amount of money for them to attempt to take the thing out, and then they gave up and just took our money.
Oh,
Went
jeez.
to Oh yeah, yeah, don't get me started. I'll went to it's a splinter. It's like, come
Right.
on, you got
Right.
one job. You don't do the job right. Come on, it's really not that bad. Um, we went to uh, the doctor was like, you got to take him to an urgent care facility. I think they'll be able to take care of it. Every single one of the urgent care places that we talked to were like, yeah, that's not going to happen here. And we were like, you're serious? Like, I mean, it's literally a splinter, guys. You can't take care of this. And they were like, no, we actually think you're going to have to sedate the kid.
Oh
And I'm
my
like, are
God.
you kidding me? I'm like, you want to put my kid under for a splinter? Like, I was like, Finn, no offense, but I'm gonna break your neck. Like, this in a second. And they were like, yeah, I think you're gonna have to go to the emergency room. They're the only people that are gonna have like the you know a
The tools.
what is it, a sedation specialist,
Oh my
basically
God.
somebody who will sedate. Yeah.
Holy shit.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, I'm not gonna sedate my kid over a
No,
splinter. This is ridiculous.
just put a stick of wood in his mouth, give him a shot of whiskey, and just go.
Oh, believe me, I was there. I was so Yeah, we had many a terrible moment of, and of course Finn is getting like crazy anxiety the more we get into this.
You're right.
Like crazy anxiety. Like the whole idea of me, taking this splinter out. He won't let me come near him with like I'm like, "Hey, come here. I got you."
Oh, is your tooth
I
loose?
don't
Your
trust
tooth is
Daddy
loose?
anymore. Yeah. Daddy's a bad man. Oh my god. So crazy. So
Uh,
crazy. Uh, yeah, it got to the point that finally we bought like special. I guess Heather got like a nail kit from like some special.
Was
You know,
any of it sticking out, or is it just completely in and you had to like
no, it
burrow?
was so under the nail. Like I wish I took a photo of it because
Yeah.
you never believe this thing. We kept the splinter. I don't know where we put it, but we kept the dang splinter.
We kept the splinter. We're gonna
No,
make a
it's going in
necklace
the
out of it.
scrapbook. It's it's going in the. All right, you see the tip of my brush? Okay,
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
was literally that far under his nail
Oh my
from the
god.
tip of the brush all the way to the nail, and it was literally right at it. So we trimmed his nail as far as we could. We still couldn't even get the tip of the stupid splinter out. So finally, we were like, all right, let's get a like expert nail kit
Uh huh.
and manicure kit, and let's see what sort of work we can do on that nail. Like cutting the nail so that we could get to the splinter.
Right.
And then we gave up on that, and we were like, all right, let's give this thing like a couple of weeks. Let's see what happens. Maybe it'll push itself out.
Right.
It started getting red. It started pussing. It started doing all the things that you don't want.
Uh huh.
And I'm sorry if that's a word that just made everybody cringe. It like it was so wrong. And finally, the nail started lifting on that one side, and we
Yeah.
were like,
And you're
"Oh,
like, got it.
the God!" And it lifted just enough that we were able to like cut that entire side of the nail off,
Uh huh.
and then gave Finn the tweezers, and we're like, "Here, you do the
Oh my
honors, dude."
god. Dr. Finn,
And I was like, yeah. So Finn pulled his own splinter out.
do you concur?
Yeah,
Do you concur?
such it was such a like unbelievable, like ridiculous moment. Everyone like cheered. We went out for ice cream. I mean, it was nuts all over the stupid splinter. Um,
Oh, that is
yeah,
awesome.
fatherhood in a nutshell, right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
It was
It
nuts.
it reminds me of the story that I learned, how why not to shuffle your feet on a carpet. Because it was almost the same. I was just shuffling my feet, and I remember I was like, I was like, something bit me. I was like, what the bit me? And I looked down, and I just saw this little piece of like metal. I was like, oh, a little pin or something. I was like 9 years old or something like that, and so I was trying to be like big about it, and I was like, okay, just a little. And it was like an inch long sewing needle that like barely the eye of the needle was still, it was in my big toe. And I remember just like as I was trying to be a big boy, pull it out, and I'm like, oh. And when I saw how big it was, I started to feel more pain than I ever felt in my life.
Yeah, oh my.
It
I
was,
gotta tell you,
it was like a full on sewing needle that I shuffled my foot right in.
it's it. I was super proud of him. I mean,
He did. He deserves a couple months of ice cream.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And he immediately started bartering on what the reward would be.
That's the only thing that kept him going while he was pulling, while you made him pull
Oh yeah.
out
Oh,
his own splinter. Here you go, son.
uh,
Pull out your own splinter. Be a man.
yeah. What's the reward? It's like here, you do it. You do the honors. That's what it was.
We lifted up your fingernail for you. You pull it out. Be a man.
Yeah. Be a man. Be a man. Uh, yeah, there was a moment where I was just like, I might have to take your whole finger. I'm sorry, dude. Like, I was like, we're gonna go bankrupt over a fingernail.
Right.
That's the thing. Like they were saying, you had to go to. At one point, they were like, "You're gonna have to go to the emergency room." I was like, "Are you serious? Do you know how much that is just to go to an emergency room
Right.
these days?" Like, oh my god. I was like, and it's over a fingernail. I was like, if you do the anesthesia and everything, this is gonna be like a $4,000 freaking
At the
piece of
minimum.
this uncomfortable piece of wood.
Economic prosperity, or my son can't close his hand for a while and he gets infected and he loses a thumb.
it was a finger that it's one of the. What are you going to use that finger for? I
Right.
mean,
Come on. Wait. Which
come
finger
on.
was it? Which finger was it?
I think it was his ring finger actually,
Oh,
but it was his.
who needs a ring
It
finger?
was it was it was his right-handed ring finger.
Uh, his father's ambidextrous. He can learn to be ambidextrous. It's in his genes.
I was thinking, see, you know, it's like, come on.
Glad fit is
Yeah, I
okay.
think.
Lots of ice cream, says Bob.
Yeah, I mean, it was nuts. I've never seen anything take that long, though. Ugh.
Uh, did you feel sympathetic pain as you were forcing him to pull it out?
Hard no.
No,
I
you're
was
like, oh,
just
I'm
more.
fine, I'm cool.
Honestly, I'll be honest more. He would have so much anxiety that as soon as we got near his finger, he would start crying, and I was like, dude, we're not even right now. Like, what's going on? And it was just like, I don't want to do this right now. And I'm like, dude, it's been 2 weeks. We got to do this at this point. We're kind of past that
Two
point.
weeks.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We were putting like all sorts of like numbing stuff on it
Oh my
and
god.
everything we could think of. And it was just, yeah. He just had anxiety. That's what it was. And I felt horrible because I'm like, I think I just might get anxiety over like something he should never have anxiety over.
Is it bad that when I'm imagining him pulling out the splinter from his own thumb that you've lifted the nail from, or his own ring finger that you lifted the nail from, that I am picturing this as a scenario of Saw?
Oh,
No, yes, no, yes.
yeah. You're a horrible person, Tony.
I'm horrible.
You're pretty much guaranteed to fail. Yeah. It was crazy though. I've never, yeah.
That's crazy, man.
It's like it was funny because we were both like, we've had this happen to us. This
right.
happens to literally
Everybody. Everyone
I was
has
like,
a splinter.
Granted, I've never had a 2-inch piece of wood up my underneath of my fingernail.
Yeah.
The way that happened. Like, I will say that was.
Where did he get this piece of wood? Like, was it on a playground or something?
So that was the funny part. Like, went to pick him up from school, and the aftercare teacher is like, she comes over and she looks so scared. Like, I'm like, what is her problem? Like, I was like, did my kid do something? Like, oh my god. And
What do you do now?
she
What do you
comes
do
up.
now?
Yeah, that was my first thought. I was like, what did he do? I'm so sorry. We don't know how to get this out. And I'm like, uh-oh, did he break something? What happened? And I was like, get it out. And I'm like, please don't tell me there's something up his butt.
That's your first
What are
thought?
Well, it's like it can't be up his nose. I would see that. I was like, what is this? And why does she look that petrified? And then he shows me his finger. I was like, it's a splinter. It's all right. We'll get this out. And secretly I'm thinking, oh man, how did he get that in his nail? That's crazy. And of course she's like, yeah, he went to pick up a ball in the playground next to a tree, and he must have just hit the edge of the tree just the right way so that the splinter went straight up his nail as he was going down. And she was like, I was like, what did it feel like when it happened? He goes, it felt like a bee stung my finger, and I thought that's what happened. And then I realized it's still in there.
At that point, you're like, oh, thank God nothing's up his butt.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, at least there's no butt stuff.
There's no butt stuff. Oh.
Just imagining that emergency room visit would have been way more uncomfortable.
Oh boy. John Bivens is picturing all of this as an Italian 80s horror movie.
It's pretty much exactly like that. Yep. 100%.
Uh, Joe Doyle says, "Hey, what's up, Joe? Just catching up with the story. Holy cow! I would have passed out. Sounds gnarly. Glad he's all good." Yep.
Yeah, he's fine. It was, I mean, honestly, when he took it out, it was such a glorious moment. Like, I kind of wish we had gotten that on video, because
It's
that's
like,
definitely going to be one of the family moments that
yeah,
only the family would
yeah.
really understand. But yeah, it was, had to be there.
It must have been like the sword coming out of the stone, and then the glorious moment
Oh,
is you.
yeah. It was crazy,
Excalibur.
man. It was, yeah. The king is come.
The king has returned.
It was crazy. Mm. Never want to go through that again.
Oh well, don't let him near a tree.
Yeah, I know, right?
You're
So
now
other
banned from
things
being all trees.
other things that happened. I guess we should probably talk about our topic, which is
Yeah,
year in review.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Um, so
Unfortunately, we had you had your stream hitting pretty high for a little while, but now it's dropped again. So I think it's just whatever the consistency. We'll have to do some testing on it, but I've maxed it out as
give,
best you can.
give me 2 seconds. I might be able to fix one thing.
Yeah. It, yeah, if you want to run, the only thing I would say from your end is just run a speed test off of Google or something like that, and see that the upload quality. Your audio is coming through, but that's prioritized.
Okay, sorry about that.
No problem.
Hopefully, fix things a little bit. A little bit.
Maybe. I can. I'm keeping an eye on the kilobits per second I'm receiving from you and the frame rate.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Please tell me you pushed up your glasses when you said that. I'm keeping
48,000.
No,
21.1 gigawatts. 1.21 gigawatts. Yeah, just if you could attach your phone to the flux capacitor, maybe that would help.
I'll get out and push.
Yeah.
I think what it might need to up my my bandwidth. Now that my phone is nicer and
Yeah.
does bigger, better stuff, I might need to
Yeah.
upgrade the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, just what I would do is after this, we'll just do a speed test and just see
Yeah.
what the consistency is
Yep.
and stuff like that.
All good. We'll get it worked out.
Yeah. But anyway,
So
the topic of this
yeah.
stream is not splinters.
No, it's not, and it's not video compression.
Yeah, it is not video
So
compression either.
yeah, no one wants to hear about that garbage. Last year, I worked on the first volume of Temeraire, of the
Congrats.
Temeraire
Looks
Omnibus.
looks beautiful, by the way, from what I've seen.
They-
I don't know if I don't
Is
know what you
probably the
shared.
thing. I don't know what I've shared either, but I think I can share stuff at this point, just because it's all going to be in print very soon, and I think I've shared just about everything. Um, I'm pulling it up right now. Oh yeah, this was the one holiday commission I think I was able to share. Uh, Although I did a couple of mermaids. I did one for Bob too. I don't think I have that one on my phone.
Oh, I
On
love
my
this
iPad.
piece. I love your long, this
Yeah,
long format,
this
the
was
tall
for
format, I should say.
yeah, this was for a local model that's here in St. Pete, and
Hmm.
his boyfriend sent me a note and was like, he loved your work. He really is kind of like looking for you know, I want to give him something of him by you, and he's really big into like your superheroes, but he also loves your mermaids, and I was like, oh, I got it. So I sent him a bunch of different examples,
Hmm.
and yeah, he let me kind of go crazy with it. Uh, it was fun. Yeah, these are the
Nice.
other, I guess, ideas we had, sort of a beginning to end sort of thing.
Well, you were talking a little earlier about professional
Yeah,
versus commission kind of
non-professional.
stuff, non-professional stuff, and like
Yeah,
this is some of the stuff like people are more open to, or like you end up directing a little bit more. That makes it a little more
yeah,
fun sometimes, right?
yeah. Towards the end of the year, I did a bunch of this stuff. Uh, I did everything mystery boxes, which were crazy fun. So inside of each, I did an animal one. I did um, I did oh wait, where is it? Yeah, so I did like fantasy ones that had, a bunch of different types of images or a bunch of different types of things, prints. Uh, some of them had like thumbnails from comic pages for the comic one. Animal Mystery Pack had some of our stuff from our trip to Africa, which we will talk about in a bit.
Yes.
Um, Fantasy Mystery Pack, a lot of published stuff. I just tried to I didn't have time to do a ton of work for people over the holidays, so I was like, you know what? What's something that I can like cull together that I already have, and then that way it's kind of like that, opening a present, you don't know what you're going to get.
Hmm.
And I like that. One of the things about mystery boxes, which I love, and I don't really do them very often just because I like people to know what they're buying. Um, but this way, it's like you don't know which of the pieces you're going to get. So it's kind of like a rolling the dice type thing. Although most of the people like sent me kind of notes about things they were after, and I made sure to try and include some of those.
Aw, so
Um,
you cheated.
a little bit. Not everybody. That's the front, back, and spine of the Temeraire, Bose Volume One.
Ooh. Yeah, it's such a this piece. How big is this
But
piece, by the way? Like, how large is the original that you
oh,
painted?
it's like let's put it this way. This right here is 9 by 12. The original is 16 by 20. So add 4 inches up this way at least, and then
Double it that
you
way.
know almost triple it that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it might be 18 by 24. I might have
Oh
done it
yeah,
18 by 24.
18 by 20.
Um, that actually sounds more accurate. Let's see, what else do I have?
Matea says the
I
mystery
went through.
packs were awesome, and she got her favorite.
Oh, that's awesome! Awesome. I did try to please. These are the originals that I did for the Timur omnibus. So there were a
Wow.
bunch of pieces that I got to paint.
I
I
love
mean,
the
it's
I love that
dragons.
I love that bottom middle one.
Thank you.
That architecture.
Bought during the Napoleonic Wars. So that's some of them. We also have all these little interior pieces and elements that are inside. Um, let's see here. Other things that I worked on a lot: Star Wars. I did lots of Star Wars work over the last part of last year. Actually, over most of last year, I did Star Wars stuff.
Hmm.
Um, it was mad fun to draw characters, and I'm finishing the last of Star Wars stuff this very moment that I have on my plate. Um, and let's see here, what else? Tuskers. The last part of the year, I was recording Tuskers for to turn it into 3 different books. Um, we're going to be republishing Tuskers as a three format, large format comics, and they're going to be widely distributed. So I've been frantically trying to get all of the elements for that and adding. I think we added about 16 new pages. Um, and Tony actually did the second cover for us too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
thanks.
painted an elephant.
You did.
On a super
I-
tight timeline, deadline. Speaking of publishers that
Yeah.
give you impossible deadlines.
Impossible deadlines. Yep. That- Tony didn't step up to the plate. Tony might have saved my bacon. Um,
It's like, yeah, I know you're still jet lagged from Africa,
so
but before you leave for New York,
exactly, where you have tons of missions to do for people. Um, yeah, Tony really kind of helped. Originally, we had a couple of other people that were going to be doing it, but they couldn't really like
yeah, they had
they
to drop at the last second.
yeah.
That's my bread and butter.
Let's see here. Where is it? Da, da, da. Trying to find the. There it is. There's two cover. Hopefully this will show. Yeah, this is the volume 2 cover. Mind the black bars.
Oh, there it
It's
is.
really just showing. Yeah,
Yep.
title and imprint and everything.
Luckily, we just came back from Africa when I did that piece, and so elephants and tons of reference photos and things like that were already sort of still in the subconscious. So, like,
Yep.
the trees are like, I don't need reference for that. I just spent 10 days in Africa. I know what the trees look like. Um, so it was if there was ever an appropriate timing for that, it was then. It was
Yeah.
right after we got back from our trip to Africa. Speaking of which,
I'm sorry, say.
our last stream was right before we left for Africa, and we meant to do one when we got back, but we lost it. So we're gonna catch up a little bit on that. If you have any questions or things like that as well, feel free to ask. But what were some of your highlights from that
Well, my
trip,
big
or what do you
highlight,
want to share?
as soon as I got back from that trip, uh, as I was landing,
Oh yeah,
I learned that I now have a new pet,
oh yeah. That's the other
which is
brilliant thing.
yeah, which is a 50-pound African spur-thighed tortoise.
He's huge.
And yeah, he's basically like a riding tortoise. Um, that is, let's put it this way: this is part of his enclosure that we built. Uh, that right there is actually a bass drum.
Oh my
Just
god.
it's yeah,
Oh my god. That's huge.
yeah. And, oh yeah. Actually, even better. Yeah. So that right there is a bass drum, and that right there, which as I zoom in,
Is your
is
Great Dane?
our Great Dane that is like, what did you do? Just to
What
give
is
you a
that
size,
thing?
it's almost as big as the Great Dane. Um, yeah, and of course we had to name him Flash,
Of course.
because that's what you name turtles. I mean, yeah, come on. My favorite part was definitely the story, like hands down, hanging out with you guys at the safari was
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
go through photos so that it's not just boring me talking. Being able to like hang out with all these artists and draw, paint at the same time, like just the people in Africa were
Yeah.
unbelievable. Um,
One of the things my dad's so I was so glad I was able to bring my dad along on this trip. But one of the things my dad still talks about was just like, you guys paint all the time, because
yeah, true.
so we're on our vacation, right? Everything's been paid for. We don't have to worry about it, or everything's covered, and there's itineraries. and we're still
Literally.
getting up
We
at
were
like the crack of dawn and like, hey, we'll meet out here
yeah,
at like 6:30, 7 o'clock, and we're out
we're
there and
sitting
we're painting. We're sitting on the veranda
yeah,
and we have our
yeah,
paints
breakfast
out
right
and with breakfast.
here on it.
You know, he's like, "Do you guys stop?" Like it was, and he was also inspired by it, right? Really, but he was just like, "Yeah, you guys just did this the entire time." So, and that was also fun,
It,
right? Because it wasn't with
yeah,
we were able to do it without stress, right? And that usually when we do that, we're at a convention and it's the Saturday night before, and we're up early and doing it. But but yeah, that was that was a lot of fun.
it really was. It was mad fun. It was we they treated us extremely well. The whiskey tasting with Damien and the Symbiote
Oh
guys.
my God. People are still asking me questions about that. Like, so we
Yeah,
saw that
that was
picture. Like, what was that? I was like, oh,
yeah,
yeah,
you know,
we weren't expecting that either. It was made, so we were led to believe, I don't know about you, but to me, it sounded like we were going to be in this bar, and in the back room of this bar, they were going to clear it out, and we were going to set up a couple tables or something like that, and we could have some drinks with some VIP fans that would come in. Like, I was picturing literally just like a bar that had like an open room for a gathering of like 15, 20 people. Like, like a where like literally just like a storage room. That's what I was thinking.
yeah,
Like, and we get there and there's we go to we see a warehouse, and then behind the warehouse is this other building with velvet ropes and a red carpet leading into a a huge heavy door with large like 2 foot long like handles that you pull open,
I'm gonna,
right?
I'm gonna try and give them visuals while you're
Yeah,
describing.
yeah. And
I have to
the
do
the
all the
doors open, or you get out there. Obviously, we doors open, and we're greeted by a life size Mark 40 Iron Man, Iron
there you
Man
go.
suit. Yeah, like
So
literally, this is what we see.
life size Iron Man. Look at the door handles.
Yeah, yeah,
Those
the,
are
the door
samurai
handle.
swords.
Yeah, that's right. It was samurai swords. I just remember they were like these long. I was like, what did we just? Huh? It
Yeah.
this
So that's entrance, and then it's like from there, you
we
know,
we head down these stairs,
Samurai Batman.
and the stairs are a little bit longer, so you're going down not just like one story, but very like 1.5 stories, right? Maybe two. And the room opens up, and there's a long table for 50 people, right? 25 people to a side, probably. And we're like, what the and around it is just a museum of some of the best sculptures and collectibles that you could have gotten in circulation today. It was just awe-inspiring. Every nerdtastic statue out there that you see on your Instagram, and you're like, man, that looks cool. One day I would like to own one of them. You know,
Yeah.
like this was
Oh,
a museum, hundreds of them. Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth, possibly in the million. you know, of
this is me and Zach Cower just literally
yeah,
going like, dude.
yeah,
Zach's like, Zach's mind is blown.
th-
This is pretty much me at every con, by the way.
yeah,
Completely loaded down with art stuff.
yeah. And there's a bar off to the left, right? And it is,
There's Mike Nicken from the New York Comic Con.
yeah.
Um, it was one of the seminal experiences, just hanging out and doing all the things with, and the food was a Michelin star chef. Did you mention
Oh
that?
yeah, yeah. It was a Michelin star. They
Like
they hired a Michelin star chef to come and cater this, and pair it
preparing.
with whiskeys. And so we had like 5 different whiskeys that he would pair. 3 of them were for various appetizers. And these were appetizers where you get one bite of something, right? Like this is not like, oh yeah, I'm going to get an appetizers of onion rings. It was like on a little spoon, perfectly crafted with petals and other things. And you would take a bite and drink a certain whiskey. Yeah. And then one with
I don't have a.
went with the main meal, which was the delicious. I think it was lamb.
Yep, right. Rack of lamb.
Yeah, a rack of lamb with this sauce on it. It was so good. And then I'm not a chocolate person either. Like but even the dessert,
yeah.
which was a chocolate dessert paired with, I was just like, okay, maybe.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
It was like a chocolate coffee thing, and I was like,
this is so
We-
with.
I have never been so wined and dined consistently throughout that trip in my life.
It's true.
Yeah.
It was next level. It was so fun, and the food was amazing. The people were awesome. At the same time, we were painting like live for them.
Yeah, we're doing sketches and stuff
was
like that for them.
our
'Cause
super gracious
yeah.
Dick. The guy was just beyond a gentleman. That's our crew, and there's Patrick, our host. Yeah, it was mad fun. It was one of the greatest trips. Where we stayed was like basically a villa.
Yeah, it was a
I,
little commune of artists. It was amazing. Um, and yeah, I think it was just kind of being able to relax with a bunch of like-minded artists who have had a variety of experiences to get to where we are, and to share that, and to share those stories and inspirations and things like that. And all of us were just fascinated at everyone else and what they were able to do, right? So I was like, oh, what are you doing? How'd you do that? Like, oh, that's so cool. Like, what are you doing? Are you all going again? Do you know? Not sure. We are still recovering from that. We're planning on doing
yeah,
we're all going to be, a bunch of us are going to be at Seattle. So we're planning to
yeah.
do sort of a reunion. And obviously probably in New York, well, I'll be in there for New York Comic Con. And so there'll be some sort of reunion there. Um, but, but yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's those 2 jokers.
Yeah, these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Rhino. Just Rhino.
The
Oh, we also got to paint things for 2 little girls on
Oh
their
yeah,
birthdays.
yeah.
Um,
I forgot where. Oh my picture somewhere. I didn't really post it.
I don't
But
know
our
if I
our,
have.
our hosts had 2 little daughters that were also fledgling nerds, and so we painted some Harry Potters for them, to say thank you.
That is a termite mound. It's the size of, well, almost as big as Stefan Rue.
Yeah.
Almost. Just sitting there on our phones, and just a giraffe walking by. Just.
Like I'm from I've lived in Chicago pretty much all of my life, and when you say wildlife to me, like just on a day-to-day basis, it's rats and pigeons, really, and squirrels, right? That's the amount of wildlife I get on sort of a daily basis, unless I actually go to a zoo. And to just simply walk and like have to pause while giraffes cross the path in front of you or road, or being worried because you heard some hyenas in the distance a little bit, and you're like, wait, what's going on? Um, was simply bizarre for me, right?
Yeah, it's surreal that these are our photos that were on our phones.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, at night we had this really kind of nice, they set up a little set of drinks. We had a little sundowner.
Oh yeah, yeah. They call
They
it
don't call it.
sundowners. They would drive us around, and then so we can watch the sun go down, and then they would stop, and there'd be um, all of our favorite drinks. They kind of figured out what we liked. They asked us during the day, and all of a sudden, like, hey, we have all your drinks ready. We're gonna have a little drink while the rest of the sun goes down. And it's right in the middle of the African wilderness. So that was
There you go. That was a lodge. There's Tony's dad.
yeah. There's my dad,
Yeah, crazy beetle.
Scarab, Scarab, brown beetle.
Kudu.
Kudos. That was a word. I was trying to think of it. Like, yeah, kudos.
Uh, that was at the lodge painting. Lots of pictures of Tony sleep.
Hey, if we're gonna do that, I got some of you too. I'm holding on to them to see what you were gonna do with yours. Like, I have some ammo.
I got it. It's the only one. It's the only one. It's the only one. Although I probably will show your dad one because that one was
That one was awesome.
classic. That was
Oh,
so
Margot
classic.
Simone Art just rated the channel with 97 viewers. Thank you, Margot. Uh,
Thanks, mate. Yeah, this is. I don't know what that face is I'm making. I'm like,
yeah.
what the? I think somebody said something that was crazy. There's Steve Ellis and Mike from the
New York
New York
Comic Con,
Comic Con.
Reed Pop.
Yep.
Yeah, we were so glad that he was able to join. Real quickly, oh, Margot Simone, these bunnies are so cute. This is to the 97 new viewers we have on our Twitch live stream as well on this end of things. We are doing a dual live stream with Dan Govar and I. We have a YouTube channel called Paint Bros, and where we're just kind of painting, and we're doing kind of a year in review. And the theme for this stream is, as you see, the bunnies and things like that, is the Chinese New Year. So next year, this upcoming year, is the year of the rabbit. So we're painting some rabbits and hares and things like that. So thank you for joining, and we're sharing one of the highlights of our year in review was our trip to South Africa for South Africa Comic Con, and where they took us out. They took all the VIPs and the guests out on a safari for 5 days to share their appreciation for us making it out there. So looking back at 2022, yes. And so Dan is right now. We were both there, kind of showing some pictures from our time there, and yeah, it was just simply amazing. There were about 5 or 6 six artists, right, in total that went.
No, there's one,
7?
2, 3. Yeah, 7 of us.
7 of us.
3, 4, 5, 7. Yeah. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, because Zach's not in this. Yep.
Oh yeah. So there are 7 artists that came over from the States that were flown out there for to be guests at Comic Con Africa. So
There's the man.
oh, and I was able to bring my dad, and that's my dad. He joined me. He kept on telling everyone he was my porter, and he's like, "Oh no, let me take your luggage. Let me take your luggage." I was like, "No, stop it." But he was awesome. The blues are so pretty. Thank you so much, Margot. Yeah, this is gonna be a piece
There you
to. Oh, look at that lion. Yeah, these were, as Dan was saying before, like, these were all pictures from our phone. So like we were up close to these amazing creatures, and being a very urban person, this was an amazing experience.
Yeah, pretty nuts. There were definitely moments where you're just like, Yeah, like that's a little frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah, got to see a honey badger. They're so cute. They look like death.
Death
What is it?
incarnate.
Death. Yeah, sort of. This is like one of my favorites. Was Alphad.
Oh, Alpha,
Um,
that's his name. Yeah,
yeah,
he was like the manager of guest services at our stay.
he caught this. He literally caught this kingfisher when it ran into a window. So he picked it up and he's like nursing it back to health. And I was like, "What do you got in your hand?" he's like, he's like, "Oh, it's a fisher bird." And I was like, "Okay, did you just pluck that out of the air? I mean, is that happened here? Is that a thing?"
Yeah, and
It
I was staying in a so Dan was staying in like this tree house, right? So he's like, you go up and he woke up one morning and there was a giraffe staring at his, staring right outside the porch at him. I stayed at another place near where the staff stays, and there were ostriches right outside my door. There's a little gazebo, and there are bats that hanging in the gazebo and stuff like that. Um, I got to feed the ostriches and wake up in the morning and help them feed the ostriches. It was really cool. It was just a crazy experience.
that giant frog that woke us all up.
Were you ever scared you were so close when you were too close to the animals? Margot Simone says. There was one time that I was scared. I
One
don't know about you.
I was petrified once,
Yes.
and it was sleeping high hide, and I heard this thump thump on the roof, and I was like, "It's night, and the birds don't fly at night, so what the heck was that?" And it was big, and I still to this day am not 100% sure, but I was talking to Alphod later, and he goes, "You might have had the jaguar or the um, the leopard visit you, because they have a
Oh,
leopard that was killing giraffe or um, what you call it?
the kudu,
No,
zebra,
they were killing
zebra.
the birds,
Oh, the birds.
the the uh, the ostriches.
Oh, yeah.
Two
One
of the
took
males.
one killed the ostriches because they had three there, and then
They
they.
had no, they had four. They had four. They had two males and two females ostrich, and both of the males were killed by the leopard. And I was like, "What do you mean the leopard visited me?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm pretty sure that that was a leopard, because those are the only things that really kind of prowl at night.
Yeah,
The monkeys don't really move around at night,
yeah.
and this was kind of crazy. So, oh yeah, just this is how prevalent the ibex are.
For me, the one time I was kind of nervous. We were doing a it was one of this it was a little bit later after the sundowners, so the sun had just gone down, and we were in an open air jeep, right? Safari jeep that was going around, and we're just looking at the nightlife as the animals start coming out and things like that. And we came across 20 feet in front of us a pack of hyenas. And
Yeah,
we're
that
again
was
we're in an open there's no door. I'm sitting on the side. There's no door next to me, right, on the car. There's no window. And we waited there, and they were just staying. They weren't like scattering off. They weren't chasing anything or whatever. They were just hanging around. And you were near the front of this Jeep, and I was near the back rear.
yeah,
And as we slowly started to move forward, like I, I couldn't see, but I can hear. And then my cameras kind of took a few. I could see the eyes through the foam in my camera, and they were within like 10 feet. Like I was like, if they decide to get frisky, there is very little I can do. Um, just be ready, right? And so like at that point, now there's a little bit of trepidation. I was like, okay,
yeah.
they can smell fear. Don't be afraid. So, but that was
Smell
one
of
of
the
the few
blood.
times. Yeah, that was one of the few times when I was like, oh shit, something could go wrong. But we had a doctor. My dad's a doctor, luckily. So if anything happened, at least we had some level of first aid ready.
You gonna die.
Are you still going to go again? How was the convention part? Says Matea.
The convention was awesome. The convention was really fun. I'm seeing if I can jump to that part.
So
Da,
one of the
da,
things
da.
that surprised me was the was when we first got there, right? I already had people waiting at my table that were excited to see me, and I was like, "What?" Because I really wasn't expecting. I was like, "Who's gonna know me in South Africa?" But there were some people that came to see me and talk to me, and they had known the stories on my social media and Instagram from like 3, 6, 9, 12 months ago, and they were asking questions about it, and they were really, and so that was very, very, very cool to me. Just to be like, oh, and then to have my dad kind of witnessing, he's like, oh, they know you here. I was like, they know me everywhere. So that it was the convention itself was amazing. Um,
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Uh, the event side, I mean, they treated us kind of like royalty. I like doing the sketch offs with you guys. That was a lot of fun.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
We're on stage just doing like some free some demos and sketches and things like that. Had a lot of fun with. We learned this very unique South African ritual, I guess, uh, known where they turn off all the electricity.
ritual.
um, called oh shoot, the name just what was it called again?
Load shedding.
Load shedding. If you go to South Africa, there's this wonderful thing that you will learn about called load shedding. And what it
No.
is, it's not wonderful. It's amazing how they like even work around it. What it is that their electrical infrastructure is under such demand and strain that they have
Strain,
to turn it off for certain parts of the day. Didn't always used to be like this, and they have when it first started off, it'd be like, oh, it's an hour or two a day. We had just literally have to turn it off. And when they turn it off, they mean they turn it off. The street lights, also known as robots, get turned off. The
which is
yeah, uh, like literally the in any
it was
if the
crazy.
cell towers were in the area that it was blocked off, the cell towers go out, right? Like those are out too. You got nothing.
Yeah,
So it started off as 1 or 2 hours a day, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can think I can deal with 1 or 2 hours a day. And when that's level one, we got there, and I think it got up to level 6, which was like 6 to 8 hours a day.
something like that. Yeah.
In the middle of the day during the convention, around 1 or 2 o'clock, you would see all the lights just go. All the lights would go off,
And then
and you
fucking
would
load shedding.
yeah, load shedding. And luckily, they had some windows along the edges of the building, so you had some natural light, so it wasn't completely dark. But then you had to wait about anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes for the generators. So you either lived by generators and got gas to like power the generators so you could have electricity that these you know um, businesses would have to do, or you went without power. And so 6 to 8 hours a day when we were there. I had just recently talked to one of the artists that I kept in touch with from our time there, and she said in December it was up to 12 hours. It was
That's
crazy.
insane.
It
Imagine that.
literally they hit up to 12 hours, she said. She's like, yeah, I'm charging everything right now. I'm like, oh. She's like, yeah, so if you stop hearing from me, it's probably because load shedding just hit.
That so
Is Panic
so
Switched says hi. Oh snap, a morning moy. And Dangle Dude says your Instagram has some amazing works. Thank you so much.
exactly.
And also check out Daniel Govar as well. If you're watching on Twitch, his stuff is also amazing. He is my cohort, compatriot, and partner in crime.
We get into all the trouble together.
He gets into it, I save his ass.
I mostly get into the trouble. He bails me out of most of my things. Hey, you know what'd be really cool?
What? Oh no.
Exactly.
Not again.
Dan, I think I read.
Yeah, so that was by far probably the easiest, one of the biggest highlights from last year.
Oh yeah. Hard to
yeah.
It was a bucket list.
Yeah.
I had actually pared back almost all of my conventions because of my workload for the year, and that was one of those. Can't pass that up. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What are the odds that I'm gonna, somebody's gonna ask me to go to Africa again?
Right, and pay for everything for 10
that
days. We were there for 10 days.
Yeah, it is really fun it is really interesting that once you've done it once, it doesn't feel so daunting and impossible.
No.
You know?
Yeah. No, for sure. Like I was like, oh,
Like,
this is
it
what
feels
it's
like you could easily go back and it wouldn't be like, it's not that big of a deal. But for anybody over here in the States, it's like, what
it's
are
a
the odds
bucket
you're gonna
list,
do
right?
it?
And
Yeah, totally.
And this is one of the things as well, is like we had guides the entire time telling us what to do, where to go, taking us around.
Oh, totally.
And like if we had went and gone there by ourselves, we'd be staring at our phone the whole time trying to figure out like what's rated high on Google and what has, what to do, and but it was that added to this whole. It's one thing to go somewhere and travel and figure it out and have fun that way, but man, to go and have and to be literally treated as a guest was just an experience that we
We'll try.
we'll treasure, especially over such a long period of time. It's one thing to be like, oh yeah, let me take you around for a day. This was let me show you the sights for 10 days.
Yeah. There were multiple moments when we all just kind of like sat back for a second and thought, this is like really happening?
Yeah,
It's not like this is kind of crazy.
Yeah, this is like artist bucket list kind of a thing, right? This is what you like. It would be cool. Like one day we can be artists, and like they'll take us around and they'll fly us everywhere. Because it's the only way we're gonna feel like rock stars.
Speak for yourself.
Well, Dan is legit an actual rock star, so that.
Yeah, in my head.
You should hear him sing karaoke. It's like an angel.
Nothing. Funny. Pick up like ukulele again, and yeah, ding a ding a ding a ding. Been of my musical prowess.
So
what are you working on going into the next year?
Going into the next year.
Going into this year, like what are your projects? What are the things that you're tackling? What are the things that you're looking forward to?
Yeah.
What are things you want to avoid that you are getting out of from last year that you don't want to make sure that you repeat? You don't want to repeat this year.
Debt.
What are things
I want to avoid debt? I want to get out of it. No, just kidding. So
that's a good one. Debt is definitely one. Yeah.
So one of the great things I also did last year was get the opportunity to travel to Milan, Italy, to film a watercolor course. Right. So I worked with a company called Domestika. So I do have a course on Domestika. It was spelled with a K, about how to watercolor, or my approach to watercoloring. And they're a European company, but so they flew me out to Milan. And if you're not, you can't help but be inspired by being in an Italian city with works of Leonardo and everything else like that, and teaching a watercolor course. And so I want not only to go back to Milan again this year. I want to add sort of a part two to that course. That first course kind of focused on, I wanted to think about it in terms of like special effects, like things that you don't often see in watercolor tutorials. Like if you go online and
Oh
YouTube,
yeah.
right? You like there are 1.5 million tutorials on how to do a watercolor a tree or a leaf or a
Yeah.
rose or a flower or a cloud or something like that, right?
But find one lightning.
Yeah, find one with lightning. Find one. And so my first course, if you will, kind of had the secondary objective about flame and lighting, not just doing a little candle, but doing an explosion and how like bright lights and how to handle that off of like superhero spandex kind of a thing and those sort of a things. So that was a goal there, and I think with since my first course was kind of like how to do fire and explosions kind of a thing. The
Hmm.
second one was going to be your favorite, like rain and water and dripping and other sort of
Oh yeah.
fun textures, right? That they don't that the common tutorials online don't often, um,
Don't really cover and
yeah, don't
speak in
really
detail.
cover because they're it's tough, right? But
Yeah.
there is a method to the madness if you want to do rain dripping or water dripping or something, or do lightning. And so one of the goals I have this upcoming year is to try to work out. Matea, thank you so much for sharing and posting that. Um, uh, is to do a sort of a part two to that. Whether they fly me out to Milan again or some other exotic city, it doesn't matter.
No, no.
But yes. I mean, that would be a definite bonus and plus. I would not say no if they wanted to,
Yeah.
but yeah, that is one of the big things, as well as to get further on my comic about the 442nd, which is about the Japanese Americans. For those of you who have joined through uh, Margot Simone's raid on Twitch, I'm doing a comic about the Japanese Americans who fought during World War II and how they became the most decorated battalion or regiment in U.S. history that no one really knows about. Um, uh, all while their families were in internment camps. So, historical comic that I am doing, all in watercolor.
Like a madman.
Like a madman.
Like a bloody
How
crazy
about
madman.
you? You're making a
Uh,
return to the convention stage a little bit, a little more than
I
last year.
am. I
Last year you
am.
did like
Uh,
5.
yeah. Last year I didn't do many. I got bogged down in project work and really couldn't devote time to cons. Um, this year I also got COVID and had to cancel like one
Oh
of the
yeah, you
three or
did.
four cons I was
Yes, that's
doing, which
right.
was really frustrating. Um, like it was one of the ones that it's the DC con, which is like kind of in my backyard, and
Yeah.
uh, so no, the thing that I guess I'm focusing on this year is more conventions. I'm getting back into them, even though I have the first part of my year kind of set aside for projects. I have the second novel of Temeraire that is being that I'm doing the interior illustrations for. So the omnibus of Naomi Novik's fantasy series, sort of an alternate history set during the Napoleonic Wars, but with dragons. Um, so I'm working on that, uh, and we're really kind of getting into it right now. Um, and then what else am I doing? More Star Wars stuff coming up. At the end of the year, they released a whole bunch of gildeds of a lot of my cards, which was kind of awesome to see. Um, it's for those that don't know, the gildeds are like the super ridiculous rare versions. Like there's a couple that are one of one. So only one person could possibly have one of those cards. Uh, and some of the others are like, one of 10. So that those were, I was talking to people at the New Orleans convention that we did in January, and they were talking about how a few of them were like, I got to pull I pulled one of your like one of tens. It was like such a crowning moment. It's like I'd never thought I would pull a 1 of 10.
And it was
I was like,
yours.
that's awesome. Yeah. And they were like, I just saw this card, and I actually had some of the originals there, and they were like, oh my gosh, it's so awesome to see the actual card. Um, yeah, it was fun. And I have some more of those that are coming up. I was just talking to Steve Ellis online earlier, one of our friends that we went to Africa with, and he is also doing some of those cards. And
Oh, nice.
he was just talking. Yeah, we were chatting about different approaches and some of the ones he was tackling. So yeah, the more of those. I'm trying to think of other things I have going on. I've got a second volume of my art book that will be coming out. I have the daily sketches, so it'll be a 200-page graphic novel or 200-page art book. Very similar format. I've also got, let's see, I've got about, I would say, 2 other books that are. One of them that I'm basically just waiting to kind of like talk about. It's done. I keep wanting to add more pages to it, so it's frustrating. And that's my Forgotten Gods book.
Oh, yes.
I finally
That's
kind
been
of
years
wrapped it
in the
up.
making.
No, I know, and I finally got to the point that I'm happy with it, but I kind of want to add more. Like I don't want to do a second volume,
Hmm.
and there are too many of the gods that I just kind of left out, and I'm like, I kind of want to go back and do them now
Hmm.
because it feels kind of complete. So that's one that I'm probably going to take a little longer on, even though it's actually a finished book. And then I think that's about it. I mean, CODs are going to take up a chunk of my year this year.
Yeah. No, for
I
sure.
kind of I ditched cons for the most part last year, and there was definitely a part of me that realized that was that's kind of part of my art life,
Yeah.
and getting rid of that part was not a good thing necessarily. It was from a work standpoint, but from a development standpoint, I didn't realize how that like randomness of what you're going to be asked to do for people
Hmm.
is actually one of the things that kind of like kept me fresh, and like
Mm.
kept my
In,
kept the
inspiration flowing,
you know
the
what I mean?
juices. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, no,
yeah. It kind of kept
there's a certain excitement and like a challenge and,
that
um,
challenge part.
yeah, it's kind of like you can. It's kind of like just going out for a run every morning, kind of thing. Like, oh yeah, I'm going out for a run. But then when you have a race, right? Like it's
Yeah,
different. It's like, oh, like I'm training for something, or I'm feeling for something, or I'm pushing myself a little bit differently. It's just a different frame of mind, and sometimes that frame of mind does does good things for you overall, like whether it inspires you or keeps you motivated, or just brings different ideas. Like, oh, I did this thing commission. I'll do one later for myself, but I have a different idea how I want to do it, because you're problem solving in, kind of under pressure.
yeah. No, it's definitely something that I've recognized that I need to do more of that.
Yeah.
Um, uh, it's when you have deadlines and you have things that you're trying to meet and finish in a mostly timely manner.
Hmm.
I feel like my editors are laughing at that. Uh, you definitely you want to you don't focus as much on that sort of like experimentation or thinking outside the box necessarily that you get to do when you're doing commission work, which is
Right.
you're trying push the envelope and do something more innovative.
Right. And and sometimes you need it needs to come from outside of you to help you think of things that aren't
Exactly.
in your wheelhouse, aren't in your comfort zone, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like asking Dan to paint something from an anime that he's never heard of.
Yeah. Or asking Tony to paint
Oh,
Oh, snap!
damn!
Wait, you want me to paint a what?
What?
No, yeah. I mean, it's definitely one of those. I don't know. I like we do cons all the time together, so
Yeah.
it's like a different animal for us.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of other artists don't have
The same
same sort of, like,
experience as
crazy
yeah, that we
Yeah, I
have.
mean, we've been doing it for so long, and we also kind of like, we know the ins and outs and what we can
Yeah.
commit to and what we should. And
Yeah.
you know, next time someone, we now have, like, fixes for like crazy requests. We now
Hmm.
have things that, you know, before, if somebody was like, "Yeah, I want a likeness of so and so," you just laugh at them at a convention.
Yeah.
Now we're actually, I can take that on.
Yeah, yeah. I can,
I feel more
I can do
confident.
that one.
More confident to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there were
We have
definitely,
some tricks, cards up our sleeves on some of these things. Uh, the the biggest boon that we've kind of discovered over the past year and a half was just having a portable airbrush to help
Oh,
cover
totally,
up
yeah.
lots of room and stuff like that. So portable airbrushes were amazing.
Big spaces. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, it's funny how, like, the things, that you're taking into the new year that,
yeah.
you don't realize now you take advantage of and take for granted.
Yeah.
Like that portal airbrush is definitely one of them.
Hmm.
Like, we use it so much now in our
Yeah.
sort of day to day, we don't even think about it. But
Yeah.
remember when you know,
Uh-huh.
it's like we didn't even have them for a long time. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like nowadays, like I show like, oh, I could punch this up a little bit. I can either spend the time, right, and
Yeah.
punch it up and increase the layers and do that, or I can just do this airbrush technique for like 5 minutes and it'll kick it out of the park.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll share this with you and everyone who's watching the stream and whatever else. Something interesting and fun I've been playing with. With speaking of that airbrush, where did I just put it? Um, I have a small screen from a screen door,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh.
creating some interesting patterns and textures with that. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And so I have some lace and things like that I'm playing with. That you do the airbrush thing and it creates like sort of the inverse. So interesting, fun
Yeah.
stuff that you can do.
So I've been doing. I've been using my spray bottle more.
Yes.
That's kind of my thing now. That I'm like, yeah, I think I kind of recognize its uses. Like, I've been watching a lot of Sasha's videos,
Mm-hmm.
and I started experimenting more with spray bottle stuff, to get especially some of those water effects that you're wanting to kind of like.
Yeah.
On one, it's a trick, but on the other hand, it's one of those
It's a
things
it's
that
a it's a trick slash technique at the end of the day, right? And it's like,
it can be for texture creation, yes.
mm-hmm.
And I'm learning that to use it very sparingly. Like, when I was experimenting, and people who get my daily book will see, and who watch my feed on Instagram are going to be seeing a whole lot of it, because I kind of went a little nuts with it.
Yeah.
In videos, you can really create some effects and textures that you don't get any other way.
Right.
Like, it's almost impossible to make something so, kinetic and alive without doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that it's something that I recognized after like the third or fourth one. I was like, yeah, this is like a white pen. It's like the perfect time to use a really good white pen it's like a crack pen. You literally will use it on things that you don't need to necessarily use it on, but you
But just to use it.
recognize that
Yep.
you could punch up the white just by doing this.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the things that
yeah.
I've been doing a little more of is in larger washes to go back in with a dry brush and to wipe through a wash
Oh yeah.
to kind of pick
Yeah.
up and to create
Pick
while
the
it's still
brightness.
wet, yeah, to create some depth and some lightness and contrast, but while it's still wet, so that it still has time to blend and kind of create some gradients for you without having to go back in and do it, but to kind of like, cloth is a great one, right? You just do a
Oh
flat
yeah.
wash on the cloth, and then you come back in real quickly while it's still semi wet, and you wipe through some of the folds of cloth and things like that.
Yeah.
So, um, what's our convention schedule? We should talk about that a little bit. Let people know
Well, that's
where
a
we're
good
going to
point.
be.
Um, Con. Uh, let's see here. We just did New
New
Orleans,
Orleans. We just came back
uh,
from that, which was a lot of fun.
right? Which
Some
was a
amazing
ton of
food.
fun. Oh my gosh, ate like kings.
Yeah.
Um, Others that are on the docket, we have MegaCon, which is here
Orlando.
in Orlando, Florida. Uh,
That's at the end of March, I believe.
yeah, we have Emerald City Comic Con, which I think is the next one, right? That you and I
Yep.
are doing.
Yep. Emerald City is at the
Uh,
beginning of March.
we also have, I have Lakeland, Florida, which is this coming weekend where I will be. So anybody that is anybody near Lakeland, Florida, Orlando, um, I will be there painting, and I'll be one of a very few. It's a very small show, but um, you can probably get something amazing there if you live in that area. Just because
Yeah.
I'm probably going to be one of like four or five, artists that get invited to conventions and whatnot. So uh, it's going to be a really fun show, though.
Yeah.
The last time I went was actually amazing, and it keeps growing. So every year it gets a little bit bigger. And last year, I'm hoping it wasn't just everybody was coming out of COVID and it was like the first con anyone could really go to,
Yeah.
and everyone was just like, oh, thank God. I'm hoping that's not what it was. Uh, but yeah, it was kind of unbelievable.
I
Um,
have a small show as well. It's called NWI, or Northwest Indiana Con. Is like a single day
I
show.
totally thought that it.
Yeah.
That was
Oh, but one of the things
cool.
I do with these single day shows is just to do like cheap, quick sketches, right? Like $50, $60 a pop,
Yeah.
and just kind of
Yep.
whip them out and have fun with the people, have some conversations and things like that. Um,
Yep.
so it's a good time looking the small shows. It's good to mix them up with some good small shows as well as the super big productions, I think. Um,
Yeah.
because you still get a chance to the big ones. You see all your old friends and all the other professionals, and there's some casual networking and things like that happens. And in the small ones, you get to really spend the time sometimes to talk to fans that don't make it out to the big ones,
Yeah. That's true.
and kind of give you perspective. So
You
yeah,
sound like
my
the Ratatouille. You need.
Bob Force says, "Can't wait to see the both of these finish. Have a great day. He's got to run." My March is going to be
Take it easy, Bob.
pretty crazy. I have 4 conventions in the 5 weekends in March.
Oh my God,
I have I
man.
have Seattle. Then I think I'm
Yeah.
going to Kansas City. Then I'm going to WonderCon in Anaheim, and then I'm coming back to MegaCon.
Wow.
I am just putting that travel itinerary together right now, and I'm you
You
know
realize that you're
slightly
actually
going, oh shit.
trained slightly.
This is gonna mess up my sleeping schedule, hopping back and forth between all these different time zones.
I think Tony's making a red choice.
Yeah, maybe I should have done C2E2 instead of MegaCon.
Yeah, are you regretting a little bit?
Maybe a little bit.
Wow, that's crazy.
Inky
I
Yen
don't think I
says,
could.
"Hi Tony and Daniel. That's busy. Yes, yes it is.
Yeah, that's nuts, is what that is. Um, that's actually.
Yeah. But I think my August is also potentially crazy, and I might not. Hold on, I should pull that up because our August into September might be pretty hectic too. We're doing Dragon Con most likely.
Yeah, I really got to get on checking in on that. Um,
Yeah,
I keep meaning to, and we're kind of at that point now.
yeah,
That's the thing with all these cons. Like, I feel like they don't do a good job of reaching out and letting art like artists basically have to stumble upon the information, or
yeah,
when you get savvy enough, start documenting and checking in on a regular basis so that you don't miss out on stuff.
yeah.
You miss out on one submitting, and it
And it
costs you
messes you
so
up.
much.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it costs you a lot. I mean, if
Hmm.
you miss, submitting for a particular convention, if it's one of your
Big
bigger
ones.
earners,
Yeah,
earn you, man. I mean, I
yeah,
talked to artists who had terrible years because they just happened to not click a stupid button at a certain time.
yeah. I,
Um, so it's definitely something that is a little unnerving. Certain cons, once you get on their mailing list, it's a little easier.
hmm.
But there are some where it's like I feel like they never. All right, I don't want to call out a con, but I'm going to call out a con
Okay.
because I just don't care about anything anymore. The, I love St. Pete. I love where I live. I'm not a fan of the convention actually that we run here. I know that we just had one here, and I reached out in August, I believe.
Hmm.
No, no, it was way before then. In July or June
Hmm.
of last year, I reached out and just said, "Hey, I would really like to take part in this. I'd like to, do whatever I can to help with the convention. I live here in St. Pete. It's literally like in my backyard, and I would like to be a part of this. And if there's anything that I can do, to help making flyers, doing anything like that, you just let me know." I was
Right.
like, I'm friendly with
Yeah, yeah.
all the local
Yeah.
coffee shops.
Hmm. If you need some art
Literally,
for marketing
exactly.
purposes, let me know.
Uh, and it was like crickets for about 2 months, and then in like I don't know when it was. It was like 2 months after that, July, June. So it was June that I sent that. July, and it was first part of August. I got a note from the overarching Florida Comic Cons, and they were like, "Hey, thank you. I really appreciate you reaching out. Here's the guy that runs the show, and sent me a bunch of that, uh, and it was like, yeah, go ahead and just handshaking you guys." He's like, she was like, "We haven't sent any information about anything going on yet, but I just wanted to send this out to you and make sure you guys connected." And I also sent a follow-up email just saying,
Right.
that sounds great. Let me know if there's anything I can do. Um, and then I checked in again, and it was the guy who ran the show just never contacted me at all. Um, like at all, nothing, never responded, never nothing. And I was just like, dude, what is going on? They don't have a registration page. Like, it's at the point that I'm actually starting my own con. Like, and I
Yeah,
say that loosely, actually do a little bit more serious about it now.
yeah, like
Um,
yeah. So
but
who here would come to a Paint Bros convention?
no, I
Paint
mean,
Bro
I
Con.
just, I probably wouldn't call it paint bro.
Damn
I mean,
it.
and I don't think we can take St. Pete Comic Con, but the thing is, most of the cooler cons don't actually have a name like that anyhow.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, look at C2E2, ECCC,
Hmm.
NYCC.
Hmm.
Uh, look at MegaCon. It doesn't have a name like that. Um,
I think we should just call it H2O and just invite only watercolorists.
oh, I like this. This is actually not a bad idea. Super. Uh,
We know a lot of watercolorists, and most of them probably
uh,
would be like, yeah.
oh my God, that's actually kind of a genius idea.
Are you going to make it to H2O? And we'll accept
Dude,
gouache too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's actually a really good idea. All right, so you heard it here first. But no, it was just one of those like I don't know what I did wrong, and I was like, I was like, I feel like I did all the right things,
Yeah.
and I kind of want to send a follow up note just saying, hey, we didn't connect last year. I hope this year we can kind of
Yeah, keep me
get
in
in
mind.
touch
Keep,
and
yes.
because
Otherwise, I'm going to
my
start something and you won't be invited.
I don't want to say that, but it probably will happen. Uh, yeah, it's funny though. Missing a con is literally the thing that's on my don't do that list.
Yeah. We have Matea and Amanda Payne both say that they're in for H2O Con. Um,
Nice.
and then
Seriously, we know all the places.
yeah,
Uh,
Tony always
can
overbooks
actually,
him with conventions. It seems. Yes, I do. But
yeah,
it's not me. Like these are legit shows that like I
dude, I
can't
say
can't
no.
can't miss Emerald City. I can't miss Emerald City. That's a good show for me, right? I can't
No,
miss MegaCon.
yeah.
Those are two. Planet Comic Con has been good to me the past few years. They open up early, and I have a good fan base there that's been growing, and I've done. It's been a consistent show. Not amazing, but it's hardly not worth it. And my brother lives down in St. Louis, so I get to visit him along the way.
Well, yeah. See,
Right?
anytime you have those kind of uses, it
Hmm.
makes total sense. There's no reason not to. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
seeing family, we don't get that many opportunities to travel. I mean, our jobs are so demanding that we have to sit at our
Our
tables. And,
tables and paint.
well, no, no,
What
no.
was
When
us?
not demanding, but I mean,
Yeah, time
it,
consuming.
but yeah, well, it's also detriment to our health and everything
Yeah.
else. A lot of people don't realize. Also, just a note, a very sorry note to Jason Pearson's
Oh,
family
Jason
and
Pearson.
friends.
Yeah, yeah,
Seriously, just
Dr-
very sorry to hear his passing.
yeah. Draw in peace,
Uh,
as he said.
yeah, right. Yeah, too many comic artists and illustrators that are just not
Passing.
surviving.
Yeah.
Um,
You- From Jason Pearson, Kim Jong Ji was the one right before that, and even 2022 there were many others that
yeah,
we've lost.
Jason was a trip, um, as it turns out.
Yeah.
Uh, yep. And that's the thing when you sit at a table for the entirety of your working career, it's like your
Yeah.
blood flow is a little different. Like there's all sorts of health issues that comic artists are not the healthiest guys. Let me just tell you. I like, the majority of them out there don't exercise nearly as much as they should.
Yeah, I've been
It,
I've been trying so far. I've been keeping up this year so decently. So made it to the gym several
yeah.
times. But that is
Tony,
you're talking about what to expect in 2023. That is one of the things I'm hoping to
to do more.
do
Yeah.
more of.
I, I'm on that list of
Yeah.
things that I want to improve upon. Is definitely my health. This was my least healthy year, but also my most productive.
Right, right.
Which is
It's
like the more you work, the less exercise you get by default. It's almost impossible to have one, it's one or the other.
right.
You can't really
It's
size and draw. It doesn't work that way.
it's so easy to just be like, oh, I'm just gonna get up and get my day started and just go to the table and start painting, and then you all of a sudden you lose track of time, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
like on a very simple level, how many times have you've been painting and you're like, oh wait, what time is it? What did I have for lunch today? Shoot.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started. Like that's daily basis. Like, I
right?
mean, at cons we do.
Yeah,
Uh, the
it's the
nice,
convention diet, right? It's not a joke. You go to any artist at a
oh,
convention, you go like, "Hey, do you know what the convention diet is?" And they'll be like, and they'll
yeah.
laugh in your face and like, "Yeah, we know."
The one thing that is nice is when you do conventions with people that go to a lot of cons with, um, you kind of keep each other in check. You make sure that hey,
Uh
what have
huh.
you eaten?
Uh huh.
Nothing. All right, I'm gonna go get this. What do you
Yeah.
want? Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Just pick me up
Get
something.
some water, get some something to eat, get some,
Yeah.
you know.
So keep an eye going forward in this year. I'm gonna try and keep an eye on my fellow artists and folks that are my tribe,
Yeah.
making sure that everybody
And then
stays a
sometimes
little
fans want to
healthier.
be nice to you, and they bring you all these homemade sweets
Dude,
and,
I
and
know.
treats, and you're like,
What
oh my
told,
god.
told me told me that con in New Orleans was not the greatest for that. Like, I've never been treated so well by
By the
by
fans.
fans. Giving up,
I, I
lunches, dinner.
I had sandwiches and burgers and portable at like what muffalettas at at my table. I'm like, oh my god, this is delicious. What am I?
Yeah,
It's so good.
unbelievable.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was crazy, and I did not see that coming.
No,
Um,
I neither did I. Like whenever I
it's
said
like,
like,
yeah,
oh, I'm getting a little hungry, but then all
you
of a
did that
sudden,
one piece for me that one year and took such good care of me. I want to make sure that you get the right stuff here. And I was like,
yeah.
seriously, this is awesome. Uh,
Yeah, your snacks magically appear. Yeah, people apparently comic and art fans are really nice people.
yeah. I'm not gonna say I'm a big deal, but kind of a big
Yeah,
deal.
kind
You know what I'm saying?
of. That was one of the things I had to convince my dad. I'm like, Dad, when I go to
Oh, I know that was.
conventions, it's
Yeah.
not like
It was
South
like,
Africa everywhere.
yeah, yeah. It was like, they actually know who you are. And I was
Yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I was like, that's actually how it works.
yeah.
He was
That's
like, no, no,
yeah.
no. I mean, they know who you are. And I was like, yes, that's actually how it works.
This is what we do. Oh
Yeah, it
man.
was really kind of awesome seeing him, like, seeing you in that, like, seeing you for what you do, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and I'm not gonna say I was a little jealous, but having
Yeah.
lost my father, that was
Oh
definitely
yeah.
something. My dad got to see that before he passed away too, but
Yeah,
not on
that's
the
not
level of,
on the
I,
level of like South
yeah,
Africa.
not
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
And
Right.
he was definitely blown away. I remember this moment in Heroes Con where he was at, and he was like, you don't really stop working, do you? And I was like, no, I
This,
actually
this
have a lot of work to do when we get back to the room. And he was like, just had no idea. And I was like, I mean, it's just, it's what
yeah,
you do.
yeah. It's the first thing when you if you ever try to break into like this convention scene, much less like the comic scene or whatever else, and you start going to conventions, the first thing that goes away is all your weekends, right? And the second thing is just you realize the disparity between your convention friends who understand it and your
Yeah.
non-convention friends, right? Because when I first started doing this, most of my non-convention friends know now, but like they'd be like, "Oh, you're going to this city, or you're going to there? Check out this and this. Oh, can you get me this? And oh, this artist is there. Can you go?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I, I'm working here. I stand in
Yeah.
the same 10-foot square for like 9 hours a
Yeah.
day."
Yeah. There is no chance I had none of
Yeah,
that mess.
yeah. There's no
Yeah.
chance.
You're lucky. Yeah. So I have a thing that I do where every con I get something for Fenn. I try and
Yeah,
get him something new every convention, um, and New Orleans was so busy. Like, thankfully Heather was there with us, and
yeah,
she was able to pick something up. But I, yeah, I never had a chance to get up at that con except for like a hot minute to pee.
yeah, yeah.
Peeing is important. We have to do that.
Oh, the worst though is at like New York Comic Con, because
Oh,
you
that
get
one
back
you
to
have to
your
navigate.
yeah, one, it
Yeah,
takes some time to get to the bathrooms and you navigate and everything else like that and come back. But when you're coming back, I remember one year I just picked the wrong time because I had to go to the bathroom and I come back and people are waiting at my table, slightly perturbed that they couldn't pay me for prints or art or whatever else, and I'm getting back and they're just handing me, transactions, and obviously you're missing transactions
yep,
while you're gone, and you're like, oh my god, what am I?
totally.
Like, sorry, I had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm sorry I have to pee like every other human on the
Yeah.
planet. Yeah,
Yeah. Like, please don't be mad at
yeah.
me. Like,
I
oh, where
it's
were you? We have to
my
get going.
fault.
We have to meet. We have to go to this panel, and we have to have this signing, and we just really
Yeah.
wanted to get this. And I'm like, oh, sorry.
Like, look, princess.
Who are you calling Scruffy?
Delicate flower person. Look. No, it's. I mean, it really is. Though it's so hard to kind of get everything finished in time, um, and it's. I mean, it's a struggle.
Yeah. What was South?
Hey,
We had a
this
question
brings me
from.
forward. Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was from Inky Yen. She says, "Was South Africa Comic Con huge? I couldn't imagine navigating to the bathroom in a con the size of New York Comic Con." But then she asked like how. What do you think of
New
the
York,
size?
South Africa, I would rate at the size of like a. Um, it felt like it, so it was more open,
Yes.
but the people. I would say it wasn't packed except for maybe one of the days. There was one. It sold out one of the days.
Yeah.
Um, Only one of the days sold out, and I don't know. It never really felt crazy busy. I felt like there were a lot of people. They had like a huge outdoor area
Yeah.
on one side of the convention center,
Yeah.
so
And
I
there's
felt like a lot of
there's
people
an
were.
and there was another part of the convention center that we didn't really see.
Right, right,
There's a whole video game section of the convention center too.
right, right. Well, we saw it at the end, but
Yeah,
we
yeah,
just
yeah.
we never really went up.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean it was. I wouldn't say that it was huge. I would say that it was. I'm trying to compare it to a U.S. con, and I would say it was maybe. Man, I don't know. Would you say it was a?
I would
I'm trying a mid
say
con. Like it wasn't MegaCon.
it
It
wasn't
wasn't as big as
MegaCon or Emerald
MegaCon.
City.
It wasn't any of the big cons in the U.S. It was like,
It was a big medium con.
yeah, but I'm trying to think of Baltimore maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
You can have Baltimore, Planet Comic Con. You haven't been to Planet Con. Planet Comic Con probably has the same feel.
yeah,
Baltimore,
yeah. It felt
a
like a ball.
yeah. What
Yeah,
Portland used to be. Portland's dropped since the pandemic. Um, Dallas. Yeah, like none of the top 5 or 10, but like
yeah.
probably like a number 11 in the terms of U.S. But one of the things I will say about Comic Con Africa that was inspirational or motivational or like me, they appreciated there was, you can
Yeah,
feel it, there was an intense appreciation for just being at that convention and just soaking the experience and everything
totally.
up, right? Like,
Yeah,
in the US, every city has a
has a
convention. You can't
sure.
kick a ball down the street, kick a can down the street and not hit a convention. And you want to go to a convention on a weekend. There's a convention somewhere in the U.S. that you can do that weekend. In Africa, in the entire continent, this is probably
They
it.
have.
There's like two, right? There's there in Cape Town that we were in. I think
Yep.
maybe one more in like in northern Africa, but really, you're not. And so the people that were there, that you can feel the appreciation and the love for what you were doing. And it was like when we went, I equate it to like when I first went to a comic convention, and that energy when I first went to a comic convention, like that's what every single one of the fans had. And it wasn't this like, oh, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna get this. It was this like wonder, right? That they kind of had, and staring at every piece. They weren't going through our art going, oh, do you have a Batman? Do you have a Spider? I'm looking for this. Do you have the... No, they were looking for every single piece, taking every single piece of art in and loving it for what it was. And that was
so true.
Amazing as an artist to feel. So
it was pretty humbling, that's for sure.
Humbling is an amazing word for that. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. The thing that struck me as like different from the US cons is the way that they treated their artist alley was very different. They treated it almost like a how do I describe it? They treated every artist as an exhibitor.
Mm-hmm.
So you had your own sort of booth setup. Like everyone was very equal in the booth setup. The location might have been different, but the booth setup was the same across the board.
Yeah.
No matter what you had, nobody just had a table. They didn't do tables at all there.
Yeah.
They had booths that you like were kind of encapsulated in, and that was really different. That was like, it felt a little bit like Gen Con in a way. Gen Con did the same thing. They never really had just tables. So it didn't feel as open in that way. That was one of the things that I'm not sure if I agreed with it. I felt like that was something they could have learned from the US, was to make it a little bit more open and airy. But maybe they have more security concerns, and that was the issue. Yeah, I don't know. It was an experience that I will definitely love and treasure. And thank you, Patrick, for bringing us and taking care of us and making sure we didn't get into too much trouble.
Yeah.
The drink and draw was awesome, where we did probably a bajillion card sketches for people, and everyone plied us with alcohol, and I think I drank more on that trip than I did the entire year last year. That one trip.
That is probably true.
And I'm not even exaggerating. I just, I'm a dad. Once you become a dad, drinking is just not something you do quite as often.
Just because you can't risk the hangovers in the morning.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's legendary. Yeah, no, the first time I had a night out with people, and I had my son was an infant, and I had to watch him the next day. That was like, there was definitely a moment where I was like, I will never do this again. And everyone has said that. I actually meant it, and I've never actually for everything since that point. Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to all the cons this next year. Dragon Con, Heroes Con,
Baltimore. We get to go back to Baltimore Comic Con. I'm hoping to be back there.
Will be a blast.
Yeah.
I'm sure the others that are going to be huge for me. Those are the big ones. Dragon Con is going to be like, I'm so eager to get back there. Tony and I both did not get into Gen Con this year, so a very big, I'm sorry for folks in Indianapolis and the gaming industry. Love to do that, but that evidently is the hardest ticket in town.
I heard
at Artist Alley.
I heard that last year's winner of of best artist or whatever
didn't get in. That doesn't surprise me even a little bit. Yep.
Because every year in their artist thing, they select like best newcomer, or like they have a couple of awards that they give out, right?
Yeah.
And whoever won the best artist of Gen Con did not make it past the acceptance, which is crazy. You figure like that's
so one of the things that's interesting. So I saw a bunch of the artists that are currently that did make it in. Like Jessica got it in.
Yeah, I know. I saw
Jessica.
Yeah,
And
it's
her work
totally
is
happy
amazing.
for her. It
Like
is.
like any of the artists that got in,
They're good artists. They're
not getting.
good people and amazing, and we love them.
Yeah, we know tons of people that didn't get in that are actually like working professionals who do work for huge publishers, like Wizards of the Coast. Like
Hmm.
um, they do work on Magic cards. A lot of the Magic artists didn't get
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
but and this is, I guess, a lesson that everyone should know about being humble and understanding that uh, you don't have control over everything, and you need to understand that there's not a you're the best or you're the worst or anything
Hmm.
like that. It's just
Hmm.
everyone everyone is subject to juries
Yeah,
and jury, and you never know what jury is gonna pick what. Um, like
for
one
sure.
year, I've gotten into Gen Con twice, and both times best cons that I've ever had. Um, I've also not gotten into Gen Con twice, and those were definitely moments where I
Yeah,
was just like, dude, like really wanted to go to that this year.
yeah,
Like I was actually looking forward to that con.
yeah.
Um,
I've not gotten
it,
into Gen Con at least 4 or 5 times, and that's all I can say.
it's No, it's such a hard. It's literally the hardest ticket in town. I mean,
It is.
I've come to realize that is one
That
that I will every year try to submit, and you have to be you have to understand that you won't make it into everything.
Yeah,
It's not unless you're Boris Vallejo, and even then, I don't
yeah,
even know. You never know.
yeah,
Jury might lose their mind and be like, "Yeah, I don't think Boris needs to be in this year."
yeah.
It's like, what? Like, uh, yeah. So you never know. You never know. You might get a jury that literally doesn't even know who he is.
Right,
You
right.
know?
Because it skews like, oh, we need more anime people.
Well, that's the thing. That's the other thing, and I think that this year might have actually fallen into this category. I noticed that all
Different
of the
styles.
select have very different styles
Yeah.
than previous year's artists.
Yep.
So I think that is definitely they got a completely different set of people that are jurying things this year. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, listen, we have been on for 2 hours,
Yes,
and
special extra long stream.
I actually have a ton of work I've got to work
Yeah.
on. Uh, so
Let's
I
let's
got to
see.
get going.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see where your rabbit is at.
Mine is I finished
Looking
a
cool.
rabbit.
Loving the lighting, and you gave the rabbit special powers.
Oh, they're all gonna have like crazy glowing eyes when I'm done. I'm gonna hit them all with airbrush and
Yeah.
everything else, and try
Yeah.
and get a bit more of a white paint glow. And I'm gonna do some stuff with the spray bottle and put some flecks of white in there for
Mm-hmm.
magic stuff.
Yep.
You're gonna see all the lines and trails from the other rabbits, and they're all gonna be kind of flowing right when I'm done.
Yeah. I'm gonna be putting some gold on mine as well, around the
You have
eyes.
the
And
effing bunnies.
yeah, I have bunnies.
Yep.
You have like full on jackrabbits.
Yeah, mine are hares. Yep.
Yeah. I got cute little sniffing bunnies. I'm gonna try to channel a little bit more of my cute and fluffy. We're gonna get some airbrushing into here, and really soften some of the elements. I'm gonna put some salt in the background, and we're gonna get some more like textures and things like that.
Yep.
It'll be fun, and really work on some of the negative space as well. Try to maintain some of that moving forward as we get darker. So anyway, thank you everybody for joining us both on Twitch and on YouTube. Please give us a follow on youtube.com/paintbros. What kind of paper do we use? We both use Arches. Arches hot press paper. So check your Arches watercolor blocks. So thanks for that last minute question there. But we will see you again. We're going to try to do a few more of these streams with some more regularity. We're probably in the next week or two. Stay tuned and give us a follow on Instagram. You can follow Dan at Daniel Govar on Instagram.com.
I have to put this on
Yeah.
as a carry out to the rabbit.
As a carry out to the rabbit. And you give me a follow on Tony_Moy.
I'm a rabbit slayer.
And we are staying wabbits. So many wabbits.
Ozzy Fudd.
Ozzy
Wabbit
Fudd.
Slayer.
It's breaking up a little bit, but all right, everybody, take it easy.
I'll see you.
Take care, and we'll end here. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out.
I'll see you later. Hey, still on, dude?
Yeah, give me 1 second.